Good morning, children. This is the second class for your history topic, the rise of nationalism in Europe. In your last class, you read about what do we actually mean by a nation state, and then we read about France, how France gave us the idea of equality, fraternity among the people, and from there started the feeling of belonging to started the feeling of a common identity, and then it developed to nationalism or the feeling of belonging to a particular nation. As you already know, in French Revolution, France was a monarchy, then it became a republic. After that again went back, the system went back. In 1804, when Napoleon became the emperor, it again became monarchy. But still, the revolution gave the idea of equality, liberty, fraternity. Those concepts, they took place in the mind of the people. And then again people, whenever they got the opportunity, they started working on those concepts. Now let us see how the making of nationalism in Europe. What was the process of making of nationalism in Europe? When you go to mid-18th century, you remember that the Bastille was stormed, the beginning of French Revolution, 1789, towards the end of 18th century. Now we are talking about the mid of 18th century. There was no concept like nation state. There was no concept like nation state. Nowadays you hear about Germany, Italy, Switzerland, they are nations. That time no Germany, no Italy and no Switzerland was there. Then what was there? In place of that, there were small kingdoms, duchies and cantons. Small kingdoms, duchies and dukes were the leader here. Small kingdoms, duchies and cantons were there. And that time, people did not share the common identity. There was a single king. Under him many regions were there. But the people never felt that we have a single united source to which we belong. That feeling was not there among people. Their languages were also different and their culture was also different. Then what was the similarity? The only thing that was common among people, it was the allegiance to the emperor. They had only one emperor who was ruling them. He had one flag. Otherwise, people did not have any feeling of collective belongingness. This was the situation in mid-18th century, till mid-18th century. Now let us see what kind of society we have that time. That time we had aristocracy, then new middle class came. Aristocracy and new middle class came. That time these aristocracies, they were actually landed aristocracy. They had large estates, so from that they earned a lot of money. And these aristocracy, they had a common way of life. That means their lifestyle, whether they belong to different places, but the aristocracy of different places, they have a common way of living. And all of them spoke French language. Look here, common people, they followed different languages. But these aristocracies, they spoke French. And they were connected by the ties of marriage. They were connected to each other because marital relations used to take place between the aristocracies. These aristocracies, though they were very rich, they were only a few in number. The majority were the peasants. Majority of the population were the peasants. So this was the situation. That time what happened? Slowly industrialization started. And industrialization first started in England, then it came to France, then Germany and then whole of Europe. When industrialization started, people had a new way of life. They had to work in the factories. And some people earned money and a new middle class emerged as a prominent group in the society. See, this new middle class is is now educated, they are liberal because they don't have an aristocratic background. So after they are educated, now they have a liberal mindset. They wanted some change in the society. What change they wanted? They wanted abolition of privilege and they wanted unity. They wanted that should be united, all the people should be united, and these privileges given to the aristocracies and the clergies, they should be abolished. And these privileges, as you already know, they were given by birth, not on the basis of merit. So this is the social system in France that time, or in Europe that time. Now, a concept of liberal nationalism was taking place. This new educated and newly earned wealth of the middle class people, they demanded liberal nationalism. Now let us try to understand what exactly they meant by liberal nationalism. This liberalism, it comes from the word liber. It has Latin origin and it means free. So the first thing they wanted is freedom for individuals. Why freedom for individuals? As you know here, majority of the population were peasant. They worked for the aristocracy. Okay? And in most part of Europe, these peasants worked as serfs. Serfs is, they have a little better status than the slaves, but they are associated in a hereditary way with the land. If the father has taken some loan, then the son has to repay that. If father is working in that field, then son has to work in that field. That system was going on that time. So they wanted there should be freedom for individuals, or there should be equality before law. Who wanted this? This liberal nationalists, they wanted that freedom should be for individual, equality should be there before law, and the government should be by consent and parliament. People should give consent whether they want the government that way. Then only that will be accepted as the government. And they wanted end of privilege. Privilege, already you know that the clerks, the clergies and the nobility, they used to get feudal dues and other privileges. So they wanted these privileges should be stopped. This is what liberal nationalism wanted in political field. One more very important thing is that universal adult franchise. All of you know from 6th standard you have been reading universal adult franchise. That means each adult member has a right to vote and one vote is won by you. Is it so? These liberal people, did they want that way? No. That time it was not so. Because in the beginning, when French Revolution started, in the beginning, only the property, people with property was given the right to vote. It is for a very short period during the Jacobin government, the Robespierre government. That time, for a very short period, all men were given the right to vote. Then again Napoleon came. He gave more advantage to the propertied people, and women, they were always treated as minor, not an adult responsible member of the society. So this was the political reason they wanted these changes. Now let us see what other things were demanded by the liberal nationalists. Yes, liberal nationalists, for freedom they wanted that there should be a government by consent and government by parliament, and there should be freedom of speech. Now what does this freedom mean in the sphere of economy? What does this liberalism mean in the sphere of economy? Let us see that. A liberal economy means there should be freedom of market, abolition of state imposed restrictions. There should be freedom of market and abolition of state imposed restrictions. You can understand it better if we see one example. Now see the example of Germany. That time Germany was a region of 39 states. Now these states have different currencies, different weight and different measures. Just imagine a single country which is now Germany. That time there were almost 39 currencies, different weight and different measures. Take for example two regions, Hamburg and Nuremberg. You go to your map and you can see Hamburg is in the northern part of the Germany and the Nuremberg southern part of Germany. Within that much distance we could find 11 customs duty. Customs duty is imposed when good passes from one region to another region. Suppose I want to sell something to Pakistan. So when that product enters Pakistan, on the border a customs duty will be imposed. So within the same country which is presently Germany, that time it was not a single country, Hamburg or Nuremberg, if you see, within that 11 customs duty were imposed on the product, and in every customs duty there was 5% increase. When it crosses one border, another duty 5% raise, another border, then another duty, then 5% raise. So this was the type of restriction that was there. So how different currencies were there and different tax systems were there. Now let us see the measure of how measurement was also different. Let's take one example. LA was used to measure cloth. LA was used to measure cloth. And this LA. Suppose take an example. Now you are measuring length, you are taking meter. Cloth means you will take meter. Now if I buy 1 meter cloth from Rauthatta and a 1 meter cloth from Chennai, will it be same or different? It will be same. Whether I buy it here or in the southernmost area of India, it is same. But that time LA, you just see, Frankfurt is in Germany and Nuremberg is also in Germany. If you go to Frankfurt and you want 1 LA of cloth, they will give you 54.7 centimeter cloth. And if you go to Nuremberg, they will give you 65.6 centimeter cloth. Just imagine how difficult it is for the trader. If he buys one thing from one place and goes to another place to sell the same thing, one thing he has to pay customs duty on the way. And again calculation, a lot of calculation has to be made. So that was the difficulty in the field of economy. So these liberal nationalists, they wanted that there should be freedom of market and these are state imposed restrictions, they should be deleted. They should not be there. Now, so these are the changes these nationalists wanted. Now, before going to exactly what happened, first let us see after Napoleon. Napoleon brought monarchy into prevalence that time. And Napoleon got defeated in 1815. Do you remember that? 1815? What was the battle? It was the Battle of Waterloo. Napoleon got defeated. So then monarchy ended, but other changes took place. And the changes that took place, it is called new conservatism. You have to just see the whole thing in one view. France, monarchy was there, a republic, a leader elected by government, again monarchy. Now they want the same old conservative thing or traditional thing, but with something new. They wanted something new. Now what is that? We will try to see. This new conservatism that came after 1815, but they did not want to return to pre-revolution. Before revolution, whatever was there, they did not want that exactly. Make state effective and strong, because they saw that the changes that was suggested by the revolutionaries, some of them actually will make the state means country strong and effective. So they wanted the old method of monarchy, but with little change. That is called neo-conservatism. Okay, when Napoleon got defeated, that time European powers, they came together and defeated Napoleon. So now they signed one treaty with France. They signed one treaty with France, and this treaty is called Treaty of Vienna. Treaty is called Treaty of Vienna. In Treaty of Vienna, Britain, Russia, Prussia and Austria, they together defeated France. All of them came together and defeated France. Now what was the Treaty of Vienna? In Treaty of Vienna, they made the leader was Austrian Chancellor, the Duke Metternich. His name was Duke Metternich. He was Austrian Chancellor. They wanted to undo change of Napoleonic era. Whatever changes Napoleon wanted, they wanted to undo that, take back that. And before Napoleon, who was the king in France? It was the Bourbon family. Do you remember? Louis XVI. Bourbon family. Yes. So they wanted again Bourbon family to be the monarch of France. Then France lost territory. Napoleon was trying to conquer the whole of Europe. So he had defeated many countries and included them in the territory of France. Now those territories were taken back from France. Then series of state boundaries. They knowingly set up many countries around France so that France will not dare to again attack other countries. Many strong countries surrounded France so that France won't dare to attack them. So these were the things decided in the Treaty of Vienna. Now, these people, as you saw, Bourbon king again, that means monarchy again in practice. Okay, with a little change. These leaders were autocratic. That means whole power in their hand. Okay, king's hand, whole power. Not tolerant to criticism. Now this liberalism people, they will criticize. They wanted freedom of speech. But these autocratic people, they did not want to listen to any criticism. They imposed censorship on press. Suppose press publishes anything against the king, then it will be censored. It will be cut before it goes to public. So this you saw, after the revolution how monarchy came and now new conservatism is in practice. Okay? But liberal nationalists, they wanted different. But they didn't have the power. Power is in the hand of new conservatism. These liberal nationalisms now became revolutionaries. They want many changes. Revolutionaries, they want drastic changes. But now they are afraid because these people, new conservatism, they have power. So these liberal nationalists, they went to hiding. They started working from hiding because they opposed the monarchy. Now one among these revolutionary, very well known is one Italian person. His name is Giuseppe Mazzini. Okay? He believed that God wants the people to assemble under one nation. He believed that it is God's will that all the people should assemble in one under the name of one nation. That's why he fought for that, and he made many secret societies and fought. Okay, in this lesson, we will read in detail about Italian unification. In that, you will come to know about the works of Mazzini in detail. So till now, whatever you have read, first you prepare one question answer. Here you can prepare on what you mean by liberal nationalism. You have to write the answer in two fronts. One is political front and another is economic front. Okay? Political front and economic. Two separate paragraphs you make and then under that you write the points. And what does the new conservatism wanted? What kind of political system they wanted? Prepare a question answer on that also.